My mother, Hoi Lam, known to most as Ellen Lin, passed away peacefully on a rainy spring morning in March 2030. She was 85 years old. It had rained the night before, a slow, steady mist that blanketed the garden in silver. The cherry blossom tree outside her window, the one my father planted when they moved into that house more than 4 decades ago, had just begun to bloom. Pale pink petals clinging to wet branches, defiant and fragile all at once. I like to think the tree knew somehow. She died in her sleep. The hospice nurse told us she looked peaceful, as if she were listening. One hand was curled softly near her chest, the other tucked beneath her cheek. Her expression was calm, serene. It was the face I knew best, gentle, thoughtful, always somewhere between here and elsewhere. When I arrived, her bedside lamp was still on. The teacup on her nightstand held the last sip she hadn't finished. On the corner of her bed was the blue shawl she always wore when it rained, and next to it was the book she had been rereading, Dream of the Red Chamber. Her bookmark rested on page 198. She had once told me, "That's the age-old Chinese habit. Never finish a story too fast. Let it live with you." For days afterward, I moved through her home in silence. The house felt paused, not empty. Her scarf was still on the back of her chair. A pair of slippers waited by the door. The kitchen calendar still said March 2030 with a tiny handwritten note scribbled in the box for the 17th. Ash's exhibit opens next week. In her journal, I found the last line she wrote. It read, "Today the wind smells like Hong Kong. Funny how the air remembers." I sat at her desk for a long time that day, staring out the window. And then I cried. Not just for her absence, but for all that she had been. In the days that followed, we did exactly what she would have wanted. No fanfare, no elaborate ceremony, just family, stories, and a table full of food. Jay played one of Baba's old records, something jazzy, slightly off-pitch, but full of warmth. Tina made dumplings the way Ma had taught her, folding each one with an extra crimp, whispering, "For luck." Aaron, who had flown in from Oregon with his daughter, read a poem that made us all cry. Alfonso carried his cello to the backyard and played Bach's Prelude in G major under the cherry blossom tree, petals landing softly on his shoulders as he bowed. Mikasa lit the incense, hands trembling but steady. Ash, quiet and focused, gifted us all with a watercolor painting she had made that morning. Pawpaw Ellen, beneath the tree, her face tilted toward the sky, half in memory, half in light. And I was the one tasked with sorting through her things. Her shelves were filled with more than books. They held years. Labeled boxes, manila folders, journals marked by season and decade. She had documented everything. Not just what happened, but how she felt. There were pages about dumplings and memory, notes about Leslie and grief, paragraphs describing the sound of Chinatown during the Moon Festival, the sting of being overlooked in meetings, the way her children looked when they were sleeping. Then, in the bottom drawer of her writing desk, I found it. A black folder, thick with paper, labeled in her clear, slanted handwriting. "For you, when I'm gone. Share if worthwhile." Inside was a manuscript, typed, edited, complete. It was this story, her story, every chapter, every decade, every detail told with precision, with grace, and with a quiet strength that pulsed from the page. She had already given it a title, still both. The story of Hoi Lam / Ellen Lin. I didn't rewrite it. I didn't need to. I only needed to carry it forward. And so, in the fall of 2030, I published it. I didn't expect much. Perhaps a few friends in academia, a few book clubs, maybe an article or two. But the story reached far more people than I ever imagined. Asian American readers wrote to me with tears in their emails, saying they saw their mothers in my mother. That her quiet defiance, her nuanced balance between cultures, made them feel seen in ways they hadn't before. Older immigrants called it familiar. Young readers called it a map. Educators began including excerpts in their classrooms. C read it aloud to grandparents who no longer remembered their own stories. And everywhere, people simply called it true. But I didn't publish it for success, or reach, or legacy. I published it because her story mattered. Because she mattered. Because she taught me that a legacy isn't built with grand declarations. It's stitched slowly, lovingly, through simple choices. The meals we cook, the words we keep, the children we raise, and the truths we dare to write down. I miss her every day. Sometimes I still pick up the phone before remembering she won't answer. I still hear her voice when I stir soup, correcting me gently if I forget the ginger. I speak Cantonese to my daughter and feel her smile behind every tone. I catch the scent of jasmine and think, she's here. Because she is. She lives in every blossom that falls from the cherry tree, in every bowl of soup passed across a crowded table, in every quiet woman who dares to write her own story, in every person who stands between two worlds and learns to build a bridge. My mother, Hoi Lam, Ellen Lin, lived through wars, migration, motherhood, pandemics, prejudice, joy, and silence. She was not just an immigrant, not just a woman, not just a generation. She was a storyteller. And now, her story is ours. May it light your path, as it lit mine. Lydia Lynn, Berkeley, California, September 2030.